Hi, I'm Cheryl. We'll be making this fun Hey Chick card today. And as often, I don't have anything on the inside yet. So once I'm ready to send this card out to someone, then I'll put something on the inside, maybe use my printer and print out a nice little message for them. And the things we'll be using today are Whisper white cardstock. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. You need a piece of Night of Navy cardstock, 5 by 3 3/4. A piece of real red cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4. We need another piece of Whisper white that's approximately 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I've cut out a circle, and I'll go over this later, with my stitched circles. And then we need another piece of real red about 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and we'll be cutting out a scalloped circle. A little piece of Whisper white, and this is this piece is about 5 1/8 by, 5/8 by 5. So a little bit bigger, wider than a 1/2 inch. And then I have this piece of designer series paper, and this is 1 by 4 1/4, and this is from the Sending Love designer series pack, and that's got all kinds of, it's red and white designs in it, double-sided. It's a 6 by 6 pack, and there's the paper I used. I picked this one because I thought it looked kind of like a bandana, and this is kind of a country style card. We'll need our Hey Chick stamp set, of course, and we'll be using this chicken right here, and I put the Hey Chick sentiment on the front, so we'll be using that stamp also. Alright, I used my layering circle Framelits dies. That's where I got the scalloped piece, and this is the largest. This is not the right one. I don't know what I've done with my... there it is. There it is. So it's the largest scallop. So you'll cut this out from the real red cardstock. I'm not going to do that on the video because it's just standard die cutting. It's nothing exciting or different. And then for the stitched edged circle, I used the largest one of those, and that's from the stitched shaped Framelits dies. The scalloped one was from the layering circle Framelits dies. And I'll list that below. Alright. You're going to need some scissors, some dimensionals. We'll be using a blender pen, Tuxedo black, Memento ink, Night of Navy. We're using watercolor pencils. Let's see, I used a 5/8 inch button, and I've had these for about 100 years, so you probably won't ever find exactly this button. But if you can find something similar to this, or maybe you've got something already, this is a 5/8 inch button. If yours is a little bigger, that'll probably work also. Just when you get to stamping your Hey Chick, just allow for the size of your button. And of course Tombow glue. I love my Tombow. And we're going to be using the triple banner punch because I don't cut notches in my banners. Now, I needed some other tools because my buttons have a shank on the back. They're, let's see, they're this kind of button. They're not the kind that have the hole in them. So I had to trim that off. So you could use a pair of these wire cutters, or diagonals they're called, and snip that off. Maybe. Alright, that's one side. Or I happen to have a pair like this, and those were much easier. I could just do it in one shot, and then I have a nice, well, it's much flatter back on my button. So we have our button ready now. That's one step towards having our card done. So let's stamp our chicken and use our watercolor pencils. So I'll get that stamp out, and these only come on wood block stamps. I wish they made them in like photopolymer, or at least the clear mount ones, because wood mounts are not my favorite. It makes lining things up so much harder. If that's a problem for you, you might want to stamp your chicken first and then cut your die. And that way you know it's centered. But I did alright. It turned out pretty good. So we'll put that stamp aside. And while we're stamping, let's stamp our Hey Chick. Let me just find that. There it is. And let's see. I want to stamp it right, probably about there. Oh, not a good one. Let me try that again. That's still not wonderful. Let's see. There we go. Now I got a good one. So now we're done with our ink. Let's start to color our chicken. And I used, let's see, got all these wonderful colors. I used yellow. I used, let's see, it's Delightful Daffodil. And I used Real Red. And I used Pacific Point on my chicken. So, just color this in. I'm using the red on the comb, and then I'll use yellow on the head and the wing. And I'm just scribbling that in. And the tail and the feet. I think this must be a rooster, because it's got the big comb. And then I use some yellow down the front here. I'm going to bring this down a little more than on my original card, just to add some more of that yellow in there. Then I just went and I picked out, there's like little V's. Let me see if I can get it so you can see. Okay, so it's all little V's for the feathers. So I'm just coloring in a bunch of those little feathers with the red. Not every one of them, just a bunch of them. So that our chicken will be all speckled. Okay, now I'm going to use the blue and do the same thing. It's going to be a very colorful chicken. Okay, so that's all finished with done with the pencils, and I'm going to start with the yellow and just blend that a bit with my blender pen. And the crayons these pencils, they just kind of melt. So where you scribbled, now it's going to become more of a solid color. And okay, now I'm going to do the comb too. I'm going to switch. I switched ends. Now I have a clean end. And I'm going to go in. I'm just going to blend these colors, the red and the blue here. And what will happen is you'll get a little bit of a purplish color, more like a violet background, but you'll still have all your nice little blue and red dots. Okay, so there's my chicken all colored in. You can see there's still blue and red dots, but now it's kind of a violet or a lavender color background. So we can take our Tombow, put this on the back, and mount that on our scalloped circle. Press that down. Okay, we need to cut our notches, and I've shown this before in my videos. This is not a size that would normally that this punch is made for. But if you just slide your paper in, and when your corners are even with the cutting sides here, then you know that it's centered. So just play around with it, get it centered, and punch. And there we go. So I'm going to measure this, see how far I came in, and just cut that off, and hopefully, it doesn't look like I'm going to have enough. Well, I guess I'm just going to have one banner on this one, because I used up all my options here. So, oh, wait a minute. No, I have a little piece of white. Hold on. I have a piece of white here. I'll quick grab my paper cutter and bring that in and cut another piece. So, let's see, 5/8 of an inch. There's a 1/2 inch, so one more past that. And there we go. Oh. There. Alright. Not often I have a chance to put my paper cutter up on my table. So let's cut a notch in this one too. And there we go. So now we have our two pieces here. And I just edged these with a little bit of Night of Navy. And I forgot to tell you to get a sponge dauber. I happen to have one sitting right here. So I'm just going to put a little Night of Navy along these edges. Just so it, I don't know, just so it stands out a little bit. Because this is going to go over that kind of bandana print. And we'll do this one too. That's all we use the Night of Navy for. If you don't care if you have that little edge, then you don't have to do that. But it's just a nice little extra. Okay. Now it's time we can start assembling our card. So we'll start out. Let's put our piece of Night of Navy down on our red. And just a little 1/8 of an inch will be showing all the way around there. There we go. And we can put that on the cardstock, or the card front, or card base, whatever you want to call it. Put that down. And once again, about 1/8 of an inch will be showing all the way around. And we'll put our, where's our designer series paper? We'll put our designer series paper on next. And that's going to go edge to edge, and you want that up about 1 inch from the bottom of your card. And you notice I went over the edge here, but that's okay because I'm going to trim that off in just a minute. We're going to put our blank piece down next, and that's going to go at an angle. Like so. You see so far how we're working? Okay, and then we have our piece that has the hey chick. That goes next. And I wanted that to be, I wanted to have the hey chick part within the colored part of the card. And then down just about 1/8 of an inch, so the 1/8 of an inch of this designer series paper shows on top. Okay, now we can flip it over and we'll just trim off all the extra. We can put our button down next, and I used a dimensional for this because when I cut that shank off, I have just a little bit of pokey stuff there, so I wanted to make sure that that doesn't go poking into the card too much. And we'll put that right here. And lastly, the chicken. Make sure it's standing upright. This is such a saucy looking chicken. Okay, and there we go. Our card is complete. So if you've liked this video, then be sure to hit the like button down below. If you'd like to subscribe and see more of my videos, there's a subscribe button down there too. And as always, I list all of my materials I used down there also. And if you'd like to shop with me, you can do that either through my Facebook page or my website. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.